Today we have a top tier Terran vs Zerg on the latest patch. The player in the bottom left is Innovation, the top tier Korean macro Terran, known for his ability to churn out an insane amount of units. He's facing off against the young, plucky Italian Zerg Reynor. This is a guy who has actually played in the GSL and did pretty well for himself. He's a rising star of the scene and deserves a lot of credit. He is already fast expanded, and he's sending a drone out here. Could be to take a quick third, it could be to look for proxies, and it is for a third. So this, obviously, is a very quick third. The pool is not even done yet, and this means that whenever the pool finishes, he's not going to be able to go double queen immediately, but he is able to start the one. And 4 lings are going to be the choice. A Reaper here is out for Inno. He's checking for this proxy rush that some Polish Zergs especially like to do, like Polish Zergs and No Regret, where they make a hatch at your third and then do a roach rush out of it. So Inno is going to scout around for those things as he takes his natural and starts to work on reactored Hellions. The lings here for Reynor, of course, would have held the Reaper had Inno just sent it right across the map. Terran vs Zerg has been in this very figured out spot for a long time where people have sort of figured out how to not take damage to Reapers and how they like to time out their builds because it's been so standard for so long. That's why I focused on that deviation where 1 queen was made, 4 lings were made, and this queen in the main was delayed. I know a lot of players do the thing that I do where you delay your third, and then right when both hatcheries pop, you can make a few lings as well as double queen. And you can get speed too, but then the lings are slightly delayed. Just an interesting deviation to note here, considering thousands of games have been played. Speaking of 1,000 games being played, we see the exact same opener that has been being used since 2010 here from Innovation, Reactored Hellion. And there is a reason that these things stay around for this long, as we see a Polt Viking coming out as well, and a Marauder. It looks like Innovation's hiding Marauders, so this could be a Marauder Hellion all in. And with an armory going up, I think it's going to be Marauder Hellbat push. The reason Hellions are so good is because Zerg is always going to want to do 2 things, spread creep and make drones. Hellions, as well as the threat of Hellions, really prevent that. And what I mean by the threat of Hellions is, if you make 6 Hellions, you're not necessarily, guaranteeing that you're going to be able to run in and do damage to Zerg. However, you are guaranteeing that they're going to have to make queens and respect you, and if they don't, then you can run in and do damage. It's forcing Zerg to make queens and maybe even lings and spines that is the powerful part of these Hellion openers. And Innovation sloppily loses a Hellion there for no reason. And whenever you're going into these Hellbat pushes with anything, whether it be Cyclones or Marauders, you really want to conserve every unit you can. So here the Hellbats get transformed, 5 queens are out, including the one at the natural. Reynor is trying to make a building wall. Remember, Transfuse has been nerfed, and Innovation starts to press forward. He does not want his exposed Marauders to be focused and surrounded by lings. That's why he's sort of hesitating back with the Hellbats. And here the lings come. More Hellbats being morphed a little. Ooh, and he picks them up. Hot pickup from Inno as the Hellbats were being targeted there. And they are dropped behind the wall of other Hellbats. And Inno is doing some damage here. All the lings have fallen. 14 more lings on the way. Drones being pulled into the meat grinder as Reynor thinks better of it at the last second. Marauders, of course, are the accompaniment with Hellbats or Hellions because they sort of counter the stuff that the Hellbats and Hellions don't. But Innovation's push is going to peter out here, and if we go to drones lost, Reynor was just barely able to hold in a very razor's edge sort of way. Looking at units, Innovation is down significantly. He had to pull a few workers to repair. He didn't have to, I guess, but he did. Stim just now starts, Liberator on the way, Double Hellion still on the way, and Innovation is very far behind. Bay Nest on the way, Carapace on the way. The only upgrade either player has is Marauder Slow and Zergling Speed. So that's a little bit odd 6 minutes into the game. Reynor has a lair about 45% of the way done. He's dancing around this Liberator. He's doing a good job of not taking any damage to it. And you know, when I was saying earlier about the Reaper sort of being figured out as a queen and a drone goes down, Liberator harass is way less lethal than it used to be. It's usually used to set up other harass, just like this. So Inno's going to roll in here with a few Hellions and try to do damage, but Reynor is relatively on top of it and sends Lings right over. Of course, the creep that he had connecting his bases was instrumental in defending that. And 3 measly drones go down. Spore Crawler is repositioned as a Liberator is continuing to harass. But the Zerg player has done a very good job of defending the harass. And at this point in Terran versus Zerg, the matchup has sort of been figured out to a point where the Zerg players have gotten incredibly good at dealing with these different forms of harassment, and even the top tier Terran players like Innovation are almost sort of like running through the motions. Even after a big patch, okay, he's going for a Hellbat Marauder push. That's a very small variation of an old push, Marauder Hellion, as well as a current push, Hellbat Cyclone. Zerg players have just gotten so good at adapting that it's sort of become hard for Terrans. The Hellbats are going to push forward here as a lot of Banes are about to finish. Banes aren't that good against Marauders, no Baneling speed. Inno does a pretty average split there, all things considered. He sort of did not stem very quickly, although stem was a very late to research upgrade regardless. So another push fails here for Inno, and this is sort of what I'm talking about. Is the metagame for a lot of Terran players in this matchup has sort of turned into, I'm going to do one push and then a follow-up push, and if that fails, I'm just going to be really far behind. And very frequently for Zerg, it's turned into, I'm just going to sort of scout the push, figure out what it is, and really focus on my defense. Notice, as far as defense for Terran goes, Inno did leave some stuff here at the natural, but he didn't burrow the mines. I really don't think Reynor is going to be able to do anything, but he does scout around a bit. Before, what we saw in the past was Terrans would sort of say, okay, I'll open with Hellions just because it's so good. I'll take my third base, which will be easy to hold, and then I'm just going to do a parade push and keep the Zerg on the back foot. And Zergs were in this position where it was sort of like, well, how am I going to reach the mid-game? It's something that's very testing and difficult. How am I going to get there? I'm very worried about being able to hold on to my third, hold on to my fourth, as a mine is going to get a big hit here. Actually, no. Reynor micros incredibly well, minimizes the damage, but Inno intelligently left units behind to defend. Now, this is what I was sort of talking about. Before, in the past, Terrans would just rally everything, parade push the Zerg, and try to keep Zerg on the back foot. Zergs are ready for this. They've experienced so many games of this happening. As a mine drop occurs here, and all of the workers are pulled, nothing really happens there for Inno as he just gets some, big Bane hits come in here, or at least a little swell of Banes, as it looks like they're going to get something. And they get decent hits. Mines and Marines and a few SCVs. Inno's going to fly away in the middle of the map. But to finish my point, Zergs have realized, okay, I need to get a counterattack out on the side of the map, so I can't just be parade pushed endlessly. They also realize that spreading creep is one of the most important ways to deal with this. Now, they've always sort of known this, but they've just gotten so good at continuously spreading creep, no matter how good the harassment is. There was a period for about a year there where Terran players were just exceptional at using Metavax and Bio to obliterate Zergs and make it very hard for them to do anything. Zergs have adapted, and now it's sort of becoming harder for Terran. As mutas are out here, lots of Bio is out here for Innovation already, but not a lot in the way of turrets. This can be sort of difficult if you're caught off guard. One Thor is coming out. The Thor and its anti-muta capabilities were nerfed in the latest patch. It is no longer the end-all be-all. And when I look at this game, Innovation's down a hefty amount of supply, and I look at it and say, Innovation has been doing one thing after another to try to keep Reynor on the back foot, and none of it has really worked. Innovation knows that a standard macro parade style push without any sort of intelligent opening to surprise the Zerg is just not going to work. Reynor's macro is too good, his ability to spread creep is too good, and we can see here Innovation's having to waste scans before he can even get to Reynor's side of the map. And Reynor is going to try to run in with mutas. Innovation's a top tier cat, he's going to leave mines behind, he's gotten the drilling claws upgrade, which I love to see. But Reynor has bothered to get an overseer, and again, we can see Reynor, he attacks in one place, tries to harass in another. No fourth base is down for Inno, so those lings won't find anything. A Thor comes out. It picks up a couple kills, gets picked up. You can see some damage was done there. And this is a really terrible spot to be in as Terran. You're sort of stuck on 3 bases. You can't adequately defend the mutas, but you need to be pushed out across the map. Moreover, the Zerg player has spread so much creep where you can't really do any damage, and he's constantly threatening a counterattack. And this is just an absolute clinic on how to play Mutiling Baneling. Anytime Inno pushes, he's being harassed and pressured, and he can't ever really even get to the side of the map where he wants to be. And this is how you play with Mutiling Baneling. You defend the first couple initial pushes, and then from there you use the mutas to keep the Terran scared. You use the creep spread to keep the Terran from being able to pressure you effectively, and you use Ling and Bane counterattacks to make sure that the Terran can't get a 3rd and 4th up. Look at this, as soon as Inno pushes, he's forced to lift. This will probably be an all-in push from Inno, as he has basically half the workers of Reynor. 28 Banes coming for Reynor. Expect just a mountain of Zerglings and Banelings to come forward here. It looks like it's going to be almost pure Bane. Huge pre-split for Inno, but a flank comes. The Mutiling from the side ensures Inno can't retreat off of creep rather. Creep back off of creep is what I was initially going to say. And he's at the point now, Reynor is, where he's like, okay, drop your Thor onto my Banelings. I have an Ultra incoming, almost 100 Lings. I'm just going to kill you with my Remax. Adrenal Glands, +3 defense. Inno's stuck on 2-2. When the Zerg starts to get their tier 3 Hive Tech upgrades and you're at 2-2 for Terran, it's brutal. There's not a whole lot you can do. You better hope you can kill them with drops. And we can see this game, that's definitely not going to work. Reynor is almost maxed out. Inno's at about 115 supply. Now he's at below 100 supply as Reynor crushes with Lings and Banes. Inno says GG. This is a best of 3. Subscribe, rate, comment to make sure you don't miss the next game.